States Navy veteran, and I've been consuming Kratom for 10 years. I just want to bring up firstly that there's 3 state bills right now. There's 1 in the Senate, and there's 2 in the House. The Senate Bill 233 is basically KCPA-style recommendation, which is Kratom Consumer Protection Act, and that basically puts guardrails on plain leaf kratom. And then House Bill 2058 is going to be 21 plus, testing, label, and a full synthetic ban. And then House Bill 2158 specifically targets synthetic 7-OH. So I just hope that you guys know the difference between 7-OH and plain leaf kratom. Most of the problems that you're probably seeing in your city are coming from 7-OH at this time. Like I said, I've been taking it for 10 years, PTSD, addiction issues, and I'm a taxpayer, I have a wife, and I do my thing all the time, so that's all I have to say. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. Thank you.
That's all right.
Thank you for your
much.
service.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Joan Hodawanitz.
Joan Hodawanitz, Scranton. With regard to the caucus tonight, there's enough people here that'll make comments. But I will say that I was disappointed that Director Cusick did not decide to stay to listen to the comments from many of his own employees. They did him the courtesy of courteously listening to his comments. He should have done the same. He's not in the Army anymore. In the Army, there's no such thing as overtime when you're in uniform. These people are not in uniform, but he should have stayed and listened to the comments. Hopefully somebody will summarize what I said and put it on his desk. Also with the DPW, since the contract's been approved, I would like to see the new contract posted on the city's website under pension, collective bargaining agreements on the archives. You take the old contract, which is a PDF file, you take the agreement, which is a PDF file, which consists of replace this paragraph with this paragraph. You know, you should have it done within an hour, get it posted, get it done. We taxpayers want to see it. Councilman Flynn, if I had a hat, I would take it off to you. I think it's a great initiative with you proposing the legislation on Kratom. I hate to say it, but I never heard of it before, which is maybe a good thing. But my only comment that I'd like to make is that we need to push local and state legislators to make this a statewide ban. Because it's great that it'll be banned in Scranton, but if it's available in Old Forge or Dunmore or Troop, you know, it doesn't help us very much. It needs to be statewide. So I hope that you're in contact with other representatives, our state, you know, Kyle Donahue, Mullins, and all the others. Let's get it for the entire state. This 5D, the Seoul Institute contract on swimming and lifeguard training, I guess, good initiative. But what I couldn't find out when I looked at the section on the fees, is there a cap on how much money we can dedicate to this? Because the fees are, the money spent is allocated by how many participants we trained. So do we have a cap? Do we know, you know, is there an amount we cannot exceed in the contract?
I'll have to take a closer look at it.
Yeah, I couldn't
offhand.
find it, because basically, if you're gonna train 10 lifeguards, well, 10 times X, you know, kind of thing, but, you know, it'd be nice to know, so you could handle it in future budgets and make sure that goes in there. I went to the last county commissioners meeting, And the commissioners told me that I am going to be given the list of people who kept their properties off the tax rolls. When I get it, I will make sure that you and the local newspaper get a copy. I still want to see a wall of shame. Scranton residents downstairs, all the other county residents in the county government center. If most of the people in this county are decent, hardworking people who pay their taxes, painful as it is, anybody who managed to keep their property off the tax rolls should be ashamed of themselves. So, wall of shame, here it comes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next individual on the list is Nate Rosan, but it's the street that it's on is not a Scranton name. Okay. Mike Mancini.
Thank you, Council President Schuster. Good evening, Council and residents of Scranton. Tonight, as promised, part 5 of my series, The State of Scranton. The topic, the good people of Scranton. Come before you not only as a resident, but also someone who shares the everyday concerns of people across our neighborhoods, whether you live in West Scranton, Hill Section, South Side, Green Ridge, Kaiser Valley, North Scranton, East or West Mountain. The issues are strikingly similar to the quality of life, public safety, and basic services. Residents are asking for timely pothole and pave cut repairs, stronger enforcement of property maintenance, safe neighborhoods, and a city with doors open to concerns. These aren't abstract policy debates. They affect how people feel walking down their own roads, raising their families, and investing in their homes. There is also a growing concern about communication. Too often residents feel like they do not know where to turn or whether their concerns are being heard. Transparency and responsiveness are not extras. They are essential to maintaining public trust. We also cannot ignore public safety. People want to feel secure in their neighborhoods. That means ensuring that our police and emergency services are properly staffed, supported, and deployed where they're most needed. But just as important as identifying problems is showing residents that progress is being made. Even small, visible improvements, cleared lots, fixed roads, responsive follow-ups can rebuild confidence in city government. I urge council to continue engaging directly with residents to prioritize neighborhood-level concerns and to hold all departments accountable for results. The strength of Scranton has always come from its neighborhoods. When they struggle, the entire city feels it. While eyes may be on what might be happening tonight nationally, let us also become grounded to what happens in our city. When others like residents in Archibald and other communities continue to assemble against data centers, it strengthens their communities. We here in Scranton must do the same. I proudly speak weekly before council and our citizens because I care about the future of our city. When you care about something, you become a critic. I have voiced concerns, descriptive opinions, and offer creative ideas. I also see this very same thing as many who have appeared before council about various topics and concerns. When it comes to our future, more should appear. We have a council who has been proactive to many concerns. On behalf of those who appear regularly, we invite every good person of Scranton to appear before council to voice their concerns. Most of our council will always understand that your concerns are more important, that if they're important to you, it will be just as important to them. Our county has an amazing district attorney who understands that public safety is non-negotiable. He understands that a good quality of life in every neighborhood is essential to the future of our community. To the good people of Scranton who are proud to call Scranton home, continue to participate in your city, because good stewardship starts with looking at just beyond today and what Scranton has to offer its residents, developers, and city employees. Next week, part 6 of my series about the state of Scranton. Tune in again next week to find out. God bless our first responders, our active military, our veterans, and the good people of Scranton. Good evening, City Council.
Thank you. Up next is Rick Little.
Hello, Council. Rick Little. It's been quite a week. I'm reading in the paper about all these other communities, some of them that I've lived in, having to do with, well, what I read in the paper here about protecting our neighbors and the health and the safety of everybody. That seems to be what government really is. It's to protect people's health and safety. I don't understand why, you know, I mean, they're talking about kratom, but there's just poison in the food. And it's been discovered. Thank God for Robert F. Kennedy and the whole Maha thing, but I'm losing my thought here. Yeah, I used to live in Pike County, and they're getting paid up to like $120 a day to put people in prison, and they're getting paid by the federal government. And that's how I see all these counties, and even the state. It's based on benefits from the federal government ratcheted down to the people who get it. And it's crazy to me, you know, $120 a person to put them in jail. I mean, our borders were wide open. And to hear the county commissioner, you know, saying, you know, our neighbors, I mean, it's well documented, all the murders, the rapes, where these people came from emptying out prisons and insane asylums. And this community is a big medical community coming down from Geisinger, and the law enforcement that's put in front of it in the community. It's the enforcers of the law, but you know, the police and the sheriffs. I don't understand about this. There were 2 police officers that worked at Scranton Housing Authority, allegedly, and they were punished, and one of them, Herring, he lost his whole, you know, he worked, whatever he did, you know, everything goes in front of judges, and that's the problem, is that the basic laws and all this stuff is judges, and more it's partisan judges. And we're at the precipice of, you know, nuclear war in the Middle East. I hope it works out. I think Putin's gonna be the statesman to bring this stuff around, because it's all who's gonna buy from who, just like in this community, like who's gonna be shoveling the snow, who's gonna be fixing the roads, and who's doing it. And all of it has to do with sustainability of not only the municipality, but the county and the state and our country. We almost lost our country. And I have big disagreements about a lot of the stuff I've been hearing that Trump is doing and alliances he's made, because all my life it's been, you know, the war in the Middle East, and it's Easter time, and I remember 1972, the last time we went up near the moon, and now they're doing it again. It's like deja vu all over again. And so I just encourage everybody to pray what's going on so that we can come together beyond, as people, beyond parties and unions and groups, to make Scranton great again. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Little. Next up is Ron Ellman.
My name was so far down the list, I didn't know there were so many out of the city people here. I won't try to be any more controversial tonight. I'd like to say that ICE represents everything good as far as our government goes. The opposite are the pros marching up and down the street against ICE and against our government, our city government helping them, which is asinine. Goggin was a failure in this room. He's been a failure. I can't imagine him being reelected after the way the taxes went. But it's like being pregnant. You are or you aren't. You either are for law and order and ICE, or you're against it. That's why they have sanctuary cities, because they're against law and order and invite the chaos. But if you're not doing anything wrong, migrant or no migrant, you shouldn't have any fears. The problem is illegals. They're criminals. I heard people in this room talk about their grandparents. And they didn't swim illegally into the country. They worked. My grandparents came and landed in New York City and Baltimore, and all I know is they got off a boat. And to change my thinking, I was listening to Joan about the tax exemptions. There used to be a couple come to the tourist club, oh, I don't know, 10 or 12 years ago. They got a house from Marywood that somebody had donated. And they used to brag how many years he'd been there without paying the taxes. And it must have been quite a large house. Last year and the year before, I stood right here complaining about Cochran buying a little piece of land on Providence, on Parker Street, and renting it to the city. He bought that in 2010, and a year ago, it was still tax exempt. That's an example of how the city favors some people and not others. Page refuses to address the fact Cochran and accomplice over at PennDOT rented the city property to the PennDOT. That's tax money. I told you they cut down the 200-year-old tree that the forester, Tony, tried to save. The taxpayers paid for it. PennDOT paid to cut the tree down. Then they were so worried about my complaining, they sent a crew over to grind it up to sawdust. Paige Cognetti could care less about what's going on in the city as long as it doesn't affect her friends downtown. On North Main Avenue by the fire station, there's two cuts from one of the utilities. It must be 3-4 inch drop. It's been there for a month. See, that's how the city's been run for the last few years. You come in here and nothing's done. Half the time somebody's looking at their computer or whatever back there. I'll say one thing, when I had the complaint and you came to my house to see what I was complaining about, the city needs more of that. I know it's on your own time, but the city needs more from the residents, need more from the people that we're paying to be up there, to be downstairs in that office, not running around trying to get reelected. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Les Spindler.
Yeah, y'all are killing me in these comments.
Yeah, I know.
Good evening, Council. Les Spindler, city resident, homeowner. I have an announcement. I'm surprised nobody from council made this announcement. On Sunday, April 19th, there's a benefit for police officer Nancy Bauman. I've known Nancy for over 20 years. She's a good friend, and she's undergoing treatments for blood cancer. So I appreciate everybody showing. I know it's going to be a big crowd. It's at the FOP Lodge at 402 Railroad Avenue from 1 to 5. Hope everybody will show up. And not only do I know Nancy, but Nancy's son is the father of my newest grandchild. I had a grandchild born in last November, and her son Jesse's the father. So we're always praying for Nancy to get better, and I hope everybody can show up. Next thing. I want to commend council and DA Gallagher for looking to ban this kratom. It's I don't know if it's true or not, but a neighbor of mine just told me last week. I never heard of it, but she told me last week that idiot that killed the 2 people in the German apartments was on that, and he was hallucinogenic, and it's no good. But just banning it in the city isn't good, like Joan said. Have to go at least county-wide. If you ban it in the city, they could go to Dunmore or Taylor and get it. But it should, like I agree with her, it should be statewide. We should get involved with Senator Marty Flynn and Bridget Kozarowski and Kyle Donahue, Kyle Mullins, and get a bill to ban it statewide. Next thing. Last week I spoke about somebody clearing that hill on Euclid Avenue, and yesterday I leave my house, I'm going to Main Avenue on Euclid Avenue. Couldn't get out to Main Avenue that way. Was blocked off, and I stopped and asked the guys today what they're doing. That's going to be a one-way anymore. You can't get onto Main Avenue from Bulwer Street or Euclid Avenue or Dorothy Street. When I leave my house, I have to go to Far Street to get to Main Avenue. They said they don't want people making a left turn there. So they showed me what they're going to do. There's going to be they're putting new sidewalks in. They're putting a retaining wall on that. They dug out part of that hill. And that's where that West Scranton sign is going to be. President Schuster, you were talking about that? They're going to put a retaining wall in, and the sign's going to be on top of the retaining wall.
And they're going to make Bulwer a one-way, is that what you were saying?
What's that?
They're going to make Bulwer Street a one-way?
No, just that when you go down the hill from Dorothy or Euclid Avenue, that's, you can't go, you won't be able to get out that way. People could come off Main Avenue and go up Dorothy or Euclid, but they don't want people turning onto Main Avenue, left turn, because there's too many accidents, they said. And they said everybody's for it. I'm not, but no, you can't. You won't. They're going to put like an island blocking off half the road. Like you could get it. You could get into Dorothy Street, off Main Avenue. You could turn to left or right off Main Avenue, but I don't know how long it's going to take. But they're moving along. Next on the Greenwood Street Bridge project. Again, they're not working on it today. They did little work yesterday and then they left. Now I hear in the news tonight where PennDOT's going to be busy all summer with different projects. I hope they're not going to forget about the Greenwood Street Bridge project. That should have been done already. And again, I spoke about it months ago. On Greenwood Street in front of Fidelity Bank, that lane is blocked off. There's no reason for that to be blocked off. I don't know why it is. Next thing. Back to the pave cut inspectors. These people are not doing their jobs. I want all you people to someday drive up Euclid Avenue from Dorothy Street to get to Dixon Avenue, and you'll see how terrible it is. And the one gentleman I spoke to today about that project on the hill there, he works for Riley Associates. He said he paves roads. He paved Euclid inside the development, but he agrees with me. He said from Dorothy all the way to the development, it should be paved curb to curb. That, Sumner Avenue and Garfield Avenue, they all have to be paved curb to curb. They're not doing their jobs, and they lied here. They said that what they're doing now is better than the old system. I mean, they lied, and Eileen Cipriani swears to it. They're all liars. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Stan Dombrowski.
They're trying to ban Kratom and Scranton.
Please state your address as well.
Sure. Stan Dombrowski, 1213 Olive Street. I've been a resident for about 13 years. I'd like to speak about the positive effects Kratom has had on my life. I believe to some degree it actually saved my life. I had a stone wall bury me in the basement of a home I was renting approximately 10 years ago. I had a severe back injury from that accident. Became addicted to pain medication over a period of 2 years, all prescribed by a family doctor. Then that pain medication was increased by a pain doctor, local physiatrist. Pain continued, and the dosage of pain medication went up accordingly. I asked my doctor to help me stop, and he really had no answer for me. You know, using the pain medication was really the only answer. We discussed weaning off. It would be uncomfortable, to say the least, painful, ton of side effects. And then if I did wean off, I had to deal with the pain. Inability to work. I was laid up for most of those 2 years. I had a wife and a son at the time. I reached out to the internet, I think like most do when they're distressed. Look for something natural, a way to get off of these pain medications. Found a natural product called Kratom, knew nothing about it, and from what I know now, it was really early in the inception of this plant kind of getting out into the open. I believe at the time they believed there were a couple million people that knew about it in the United States. It's since grown largely, but after that research, I was able to dial up a serving size that helped me completely get off of the pain medication in about 3 weeks. My physiatrist was pretty amazed, to say the least, and although he couldn't tell me to continue to use Kratom, he kind of knew that something good was going on here. I gave him some literature. There was a book out of Drexel. There's a professor out of Drexel wrote a book about mitragynine and other non-opioid sources of pain relief. So a lot of history on this plant, and there's a lot of information. If you look for it, I say beyond the first 5 pages of Google. I think that's what most people do. They find anything negative or anything concerning, they go to Google, and that's as far as they look. So for me, Kratom allowed me to manage my pain. It was non-addictive. I had no side effects. My lab reports came back really well, and some things like my blood pressure actually came down. It allowed me to continue to manage the pain as I was, and I was not addicted, no side effects. I continued to take Kratom until I no longer needed pain control for my back. I stopped using Kratom without withdrawal. The botanical I took was leaf, all natural rather. It came from a tree. There was nothing synthetic about it. It was just a leaf. I bought powder, and I consumed that powder the way you would protein powder, creatine, whatever. I viewed it as a supplement that as I said, saved my life. I've recommended it to many people over the last 10 years. Hundreds and hundreds probably have used it for the same reason. My own father used it when he had cancer to relieve his pain, and he had a host of other medications that doctors were willing to give him, and he asked me for this, by choice. I'd suggest, looking at who is able to buy this botanical, absolutely no sale to minors, a complete ban on synthetic derivatives, anything that is not made from that original, plant material, to me is not good. I would say do the research. Again, I say past those first 5 pages of Google. I think that's the easy out for most people. Go to page 20, start looking at the studies, look what some of the doctors who believe in this think about it. Definitely think it needs to be regulated, but again, in the form of leaf, not allowing a 7-OH product or any non-natural version. You can tell from the turnout in this room that speaks volumes about what this plant does for people. And as I said, I would say continue to research it and let it save lives. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Stan the
We
man.
have a couple of individuals from cities outside of Scranton, but our next speaker is Gene Kacharski.
Excuse me, I'm a little bit nervous. I've been a Kratom consumer for the last 9 years. Before that, I was taking pharmaceutical opiates, and same as the other man, I researched alternative ways to, manage my pain without being a slave to Big Pharma. And I came across the natural leaf Kratom. I did a lot of research before I switched. I switched over, and I've been able to be present for my children, for my grandchildren, to lead a normal, productive life. I just bought a house in Scranton in January, so I'm invested in this city. But, if this gets taken away from me, I would have to consider selling my house and moving, because I would not be able to lead a productive life. This is what lets me manage and be a productive member of society without being in a trance and feeling like a zombie. I'm a normal person doing normal things. And I would ask you to please consider the 3 bills that are at the state level before you push a Scranton ban through. That's about all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Ashley Roshman, something to that effect.
I am so proud of these Kratom
Jordan
consumers
Moser.
getting up here and testifying. I know it's nerve-wracking. I know it.
Yeah, it's not easy.
But y'all are killing
That
it.
exhausts our list for Scranton residents here. Would anyone that's a Scranton resident like to speak?
I'm not a Scranton resident. I do live
Okay.
in Washington, D.C.
So, hang on, excuse me. Are you a Scranton resident, sir? Yes. If you're a Scranton resident, you can come up and speak.
My name is David Homick. I live at 1825 Stafford Avenue in Valley View Terrace. I've been a Scranton resident for about 15 years. I have sciatica pain. I developed sciatica pain. I'm going to be 69 tomorrow. If you take the 7OH off the market, I have no hope of, but I get that terrible pain. I had terrible pain, the worst pain I ever had for 10 days about 7 months ago. I didn't go take the Kratom, but I wish I did, the 7OH, because it takes the pain away. You're supposed to take 1 pill a day, and these drug addicts are taking 10 pills a day. I don't know how they're not throwing up, because I tried taking more than 1 pill a day. I was throwing up like crazy. You're supposed to cut them in 4 times and take 1/4 of the pill, like every 5 hours or something, and it takes the pain right away. And if you take it off the market, you go to a doctor. The doctor won't give you nothing for pain. They said, take 2 Tylenol. It's like they live in the dark ages. You can't get no pain pills off a doctor. The 7OH, I said, wow, great, you know. The doctor should be able to prescribe them or something. You give it to the doctors to prescribe if you want to take them out of the tobacco stores. I hate to say it, but if I can't get a pain pill, if I go to a ball game at the Red Barons or the Philadelphia Eagles or some stupid game, I'm only going to stand up halfway. I'm not going to stand up all the way. I'll say, oh, they won't give you a pain pill. I'll be taking a governorship with our governor, taking the 7OH off the market or something, because I can't get a pain pill. I don't know. I have a lot of written down, but I'm a stimulant addict. I'm not a downer addict. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Stimulant addict? So are you addicted to 7OH? Does it give you
I don't know what
stimulation?
I don't know, dude.
What the hell?
Good evening, Tom Coyne-Manuka.
That guy looks like a
It's
famous
interesting the
person.
snow removal that we had here tonight. What I found interesting about it was, one, I was shocked when they were again dumping it down near the riverbanks. Many, many years ago, I remember the EPA coming in and fining the city of Scranton for putting it down there. And it's not just, oh, we put it down there temporarily and then we're going to come back and scoop it up. It melts the salt, and as the salt melts the snow, it soaks into the ground. Then when rainfall comes, it washes the salt in the ground right into the river. That's why it's banned from being anywhere near the river, not just because of dumping into it. It's because of the concentrated rock salt that was laying upon the ground, washing down in even by natural rainfall. I understand they want to do expedience, but is expedience for plowing Center City more important than taking care of the waterways and downstream safety and wildlife? We had a gigantic fit when the water company dumped silt into the stream, yet the city wants to dump salt into the stream. What does rock salt do to freshwater fish? I don't think it's healthy. The DPW director also mentioned that he does not watch council. I guess he's not that interested in listening to citizens' participation and what the people here have to say. As a director of DPW, I would be interested in what the public had to say at this podium related to DPW. They do a good job, but not watching this is removing feedback from outside the administrative loop, from the actual citizens who they work for. And that's kind of important. On the Kratom adult legislation, If it's legal, why are we banning it for people themselves? I understand we can ban products in stores, but possession of kratom, if it's legal in the state, I don't see what grounds we have to make it illegal for possession here. I'm not saying for distribution, because distribution is a whole different thing. It's not, I'm a store owner and I only possess 50 cases of it, but individual possession that they use for medical needs should not be banned as long as it's legal. If you're that worried about something that's currently legal that's harmful, are you going to ban cigarettes in the city of Scranton? Are you going to ban alcohol in the city of Scranton? It's a lot of drugs are made from natural products. Have any of you ever taken aspirin? It was originated from willow bark. It's a painkiller from willow bark. There are known and documented pain-relieving products from plant life. I'm not saying that you shouldn't ban kids from it. I'm not saying that you shouldn't ban the sale of it in city stores. What I am saying is possession of it should not be in this legislation because it's not illegal. I was injured last week, so I couldn't come in. So I didn't speak on 3C, the Recovery Act transfers. I see they moved $250,000 from the Manuka Stormwater Project to Lindy Creek. How will that impact people who've been waiting for 60 to 70 years for the fixes? And how is the funding guaranteed to be replaced? ARPA was a one-shot grant handed to the neighborhoods, and don't tell me they stole a secured partial funding for maybe a grant leaving that section again to tread water for another 60 years. $500,000 was sucked out of a neighborhood that was earmarked for it. How's that being replaced? And can we get an update on the Garrity's gift cards? We had a public show before the election of one gift card being put out to one of the residents right before election to appear in the newspaper. What's the status of them? Because I believe there was $1,000 worth of them. Can we get a listing, even by neighborhoods that have been distributed, and the number of them at least? We should know, not the exact neighbors, I don't need that, but it would be nice to know if 85% of them are being delivered to one community. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you. Any other city residents that would like to speak?
Good evening. My name is Kathy O'Malley. I was here last week regarding the issue with the no parking sign at the dead end of South. It's come to my attention that the no parking sign that had originally been zip tied to the fence had, according to another homeowner on the street, had actually witnessed another resident zip tying the sign to the chain link fence. And another person who lives on the street assisted her in doing so. My question is, the sign that was put up was a legitimate city sign. My sister researched it. You cannot purchase these signs anywhere. It has to come from the city. And as far as I know, the DPW is responsible for the signs. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's their responsibility. And shortly after that, just within a week or so, a permanent city sign had been erected. And as we know from last week, we know that that sign is incorrect that's up there. It says no parking with arrows pointing in either direction. And according to everyone I've spoken to, the two curbside spots are legitimate parking spots. Mr. Voldenberg had suggested calling Eileen Cipriani's office, which I did. And I spoke to Caleb, her assistant, who was very helpful. And he said the whole city is basically aware of the issue of the no parking sign on South Irving. So each department, I'm sure he said he's received numerous emails and phone calls regarding the situation from concerned residents with the parking being taken away. After I left council last week, I left a little early, and after I got home, I found out that Mr. Goldenberg had said that when Mr. Schuster had asked about, to try and clear up the confusion, he had said that it's with legal, and they're trying to get an ordinance to get those 2 spots taken away. When I spoke to Caleb, he said that you would have to get an ordinance, and then it would have to go before council to be voted on to have those spots removed. He said it's nowhere near having that done. My concern is, how does a city resident get a hold of a city sign? Shouldn't that come from the city? And how, was this able to be left up there? And also, having called police on numerous occasions about people parking in legal parking spots, wasting police officers' time, that she was fully aware of that sign and those spots, the spots were legal, the sign was not. So I would really like to get into, what is actually going on here. And someone was supposed to give me a call over the week as to who okayed those signs. I did not get a call, so I'm wondering if you could give me that information this evening, if you found that information out.
So I don't believe we found that out, have we, Frank?
The signs that are presently there, the dead-end street signs and the no parking sign, were reviewed by Mr. Riley from Riley Associates and placed almost immediately after they were requested. But they do have to do a further study to determine the 2 spots, which will require an ordinance. That's also with the city engineer.
Okay.
And as of this afternoon, we haven't had a report as yet.
Okay, so we're still waiting back from the city engineer.
Okay. My question is, though, the parking there has been legal. My family has lived there for generations. There's never been an issue with people parking there. There's never been an accident, and I know Caleb said that Mr. Cusick from the DPW wants to have that sign left there. Well, that's fine for the travelway, the center spot, which we know is an illegal spot. But the correct signage needs to be put there so that people know that you can still park curbside. And another issue was having enough room for emergency vehicles to do K-turns. Again, for over 100 years, there's never been an instance where an emergency vehicle had a problem turning around on that street. However, the homeowner who owns the driveway at the end of the street has begun parking her vehicle, blocking the driveway so that people cannot even make a turn. And one of the neighbors, when she came down the street, pulled into the driveway to the left to back up. Before she could even start to back up, the homeowner came out and started yelling at her not to turn around in her driveway. So, I mean, it's getting a little crazy. I would just like to get it resolved and have those 2 parking spots left alone. We need to have that there for the residents of the street. There is nowhere else to park. We were short on space to begin with, and with those spots gone, it's even worse.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Council. Robert Puglisi, City Scranton. Robert Puglisi. Just a couple things on the caucus. He mentioned the brine truck. I've operated it a couple times, not as often as some of these other guys. It's pretty much impossible to get the whole city with one truck. I think we all could agree to that. By the time you fill the tank, and it takes time. The state does use it. The state is a lot different than the city. The state jumps on 81, just say River Street, takes it to the Carbondale exit, gets off and gets back on. They got traffic constantly, and that helps out a lot. Training is always good. with the trees, the thing with the trees is, me personally, I've done the tree job for months. When our tree guy went out, I was bottom guy, so I had to do it. The problem with this is our jobs, driving truck, running heavy equipment, paving, trees, a lot of our jobs, it's time in the seat. You know, you could look it up, you could look by papers, you could do all that, and you got to do it. It's just the nature of our type of work. So training is good, and it helps, and it's definitely a plus, but it can't, I don't think it could be everything. It's in steps. What else? The salt shed. I would say that's probably our big issue. Our salt shed that we have now is quite significantly smaller than the old one. I don't know exactly how many tonnage it holds. I think it was 1,300 for the new one and 800 for the old one. I want to say that might be reversed, because I loaded salt in our old one for years, and 1,300 ton fit in there. We used to put 3/4 of the way up with salt and still had room for topsoil and coal patch all under the same tent. The way I looked at it, there's ribs in there in the old one, and they used to hold roughly 200 ton per rib, working from the back out. This one, unless you load it with a conveyor belt, which we do not, I can't see it holding 1,300 ton. We use a loader. That salt shed, the new one that we have, has walls that are built inside of it that are so high. I could stack the salt up higher, and I say this because I'm usually a guy in the loader. I'm a heavy equipment operator, and it spills over the sides if you go too high, and now that salt is no good because it's in between the blocks that the tarp is on and the wall that's keeping it in. So there's like a 3-foot gap on each side of this salt shed, and if salt falls over in the back and on the sides, it's pretty much junk, garbage, unusable. That's what I had with the whole caucus. There's so many different things. The trucks, there's a couple trucks that he said were broke, and they are, but these trucks are not broke to where they're gonna be put back on the road. One, the tranny's gone, and one, like, these trucks are done, like scrap, pretty much. And I think that's pretty much all I have on that. Thank you.
Excuse me, quick question. Like, when you guys have a big storm, pre or post, does the DPW management pull all the drivers in and kind of go over what the plan is, or then reflect on the storm after?
A lot of the guys who come in, I'm gonna say on a regular basis, and he was talking about, they're good at what they do.
Right.
So, yes, that does happen. The problem is, like the pre-salt, I don't necessarily agree with that because he says the salt spreads all over the place. There's dials in those trucks. One's for an auger, which determines how much salt you're putting out.
They
The
are.
other one is the spinner.
Land worker,
which
they are.
tells you how wide you're broadcasting it. So you adjust them. And me personally in a salt truck, I'm constantly moving the dials. If I'm in an alley, I'm not going to spread it. I'm not going to put my dial on a 6 or a 7. I'm going to put it on a 2, maybe 3. And when I'm on the street, okay, now I got to move it up to a 4, maybe 5. You adjust it constantly, and you got to look out the rearview mirror, basically the whole time. Other than that, that's those guys who come in and they're good at what they do, and they know what they're doing.
Awesome. Thank you.
I just had one question. Do you think the inner walls in the newer salt shed is limiting the capacity of salt that could be placed inside the shed?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Our old salt shed, I want to say is, I don't know the new one, but our old one is, I think, 60 feet wide by 90-some feet long. I'm pretty sure this one ain't that big.
Okay.
Like I said, with the state uses conveyor belts when they get so much, and that's how they stack their salt, so they're able to go up higher without going wider. I don't, and I say me, I don't have that ability, because I'm using a front end loader and I'm pushing it up. When I load it, the bumper of the truck, my machine is literally on the blacktop. I can't go any higher.
Yeah, that answers my question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other Scranton residents that want to speak to council?
I'm moving here April 30th. I don't know if I'm allowed to speak or not.
Say that one more time.
I'm moving to Scranton April 30th. I don't know if I'm allowed to or not.
Not tonight.
No problem. If I want to talk about like this issue tonight, can I come back to it different in the future and talk about that then?
You may.
Thanks.
Hello, John Fedorchak, West Scranton. I'm also a little nervous, but I'm here with part of a big group of people that are definitely not in support of a kratom ban. You know, we're all different types of people. A lot of people have the thought that it's addictive, and, you know, addicts are typically the people that consume kratom, but I could say for sure that's definitely not. People with mental health issues use it for relief, chronic pain. I definitely will say, you know, sobriety. People with who have potentially suffered with sobriety issues in the past also, you know, look to it for relief and, you know, to turn away from prescription street drugs. You know, everybody has a story. I myself do not use it as something to turn away from, or like to be sober per se. I don't consume alcohol, which is, you know, a lot of people say it's a great alternative to alcohol, but I don't even compare it like that. It's not a similar feeling to that. You know, a total kratom ban would cause a lot of pain and suffering for people that have turned to this for positive outcomes. And, you know, they're all functioning. I could say with the group that I came tonight, they're all functioning. They all have families they support. None of them have major issues. A lot of them come from, you know, previous drug addiction, and they're all functioning and in line, as you would say. You know, I would support a 7.0 ban because I think the 7.0 has turned kratom into such a bad name. You know, it's kratom leaf in leaf form or powder form is not as potent and dangerous as the 7.0, which is chemically altered. Yes, 400 times less. The potency of it is 400 times less. And to get that 7.0 product, they are chemically altering kratom with products like acetone and other chemicals that are not good to consume. Now, while I think the bill that you have now, if I'm not wrong, is completely banning kratom products in the Scranton area, including leaf, I don't think that's going to be a positive outcome for the community. Banning 7.0 products will absolutely be a positive outcome, but not leaving the natural side of it, like to the people that consume it for these positive reasons is really hurting the community and the people that consume it, and the people that turn away from opioids and other hard drugs. I think it's super important that we don't look at kratom as a whole, including 7.0 in that. 7.0 is a completely different product, not even close to the same as kratom leaf, which I consume regularly. And I work a full-time job, potentially sometimes 2 jobs. I pay my bills, I pay my rent. Like, I'm a functioning member of society, just as many of the people that are here tonight who have came to support it. Actually, I can say all of the people that I came with tonight are functioning members of society, and they use Kratom. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Any other resident from Scranton that would like to speak?
I have a question.
No questions at this time. Not at this time.
Council, should I give them to Kathy to pass out? Sure. Is that how you're still doing it?
Yes, yes. And then please state your name and address.
Mark Margavage.
And address as well, Mark?
Oh, Scranton. Can we just hold 1 second until everyone gets it, please? Good evening, Council. So I have a list of questions here, but before I do get that, I just had one comment to make about the DPW contract. I commend the person who spoke weeks ago about the DPW and the 2 gentlemen that I believe came with them. I just found it interesting that all of a sudden the mayor decided to come to an agreement shortly thereafter that. I just found the timing to be a little odd, but I'm happy they came and spoke their side of the story. So, Council, I have 7 questions in front of you. And when I speak, I know your rules are only 1, but I invite everyone to speak on City Council. Do you agree that City Council has an obligation to ensure that ordinances are enforced as written, yes or no? I have 6 more questions, Council. Yes?
Continue with your questions.
Well, I'd like to get answers. Does that obligation apply both when the administration fails to follow an ordinance and when it enforces something not contained in the ordinance, yes or no? How about we play, if you don't say anything, it's no.
I don't think they're allowed to like
Once council
talk
becomes aware of
back.
either situation, does that trigger a responsibility to act? And should that action occur immediately once you have that knowledge? Now, council, did you get your emails fixed? I know you're having problems with emails. I'm not sure, but, so I emailed council twice in the last 2 weeks, and these are the following questions that I asked. Where in the rental registration ordinance is condemnation authorized as an enforcement tool, and can you identify that authority today? Yes or no? I also asked whether the city is citing rental registration violations through the quality of life ordinance, specifically prohibited occupancy. Are you aware of that practice? Yes or no?
What is even happening? My emails went through.
Council, yes or no? Are you aware?
Yeah, they're not, they
We've done
won't
this
talk
before,
back.
Mr. Markavich, you can continue with the questions.
Well, yes, but I just want to know, were you aware, yes or no?
I guess my first question is, have you sent these questions to the appropriate department, and have they answered you? And if so, what were their answers? Because if you're saying enforcing, yes, we write the ordinances, correct?
Correct.
Each department has to enforce it. So have you gone to those departments and had those conversations with anybody in that office?
I tried, but I walked into the door, it's still locked.
Did you try to call and schedule?
No.
Well, that, I mean, I believe the LIPS department is the only door that you actually can get into that is not locked, correct? That's the only door that you can walk right in and speak to them. So have you
Yes.
tried that?
Yes, but I did email council. Did you forward my email onto the appropriate departments, as if it was a pothole?
I believe we have forwarded these questions before, but I will double check. And if not, we'll forward it. But
Yeah,
that's.
I haven't heard anything.
A lot of people come up and ask us direct questions, and everybody sees we ask questions on behalf of residents. But there's so many times where we don't get answers ourselves. But the first question I always ask, did you go to that department and ask them the question? Because they're the ones who enforce the ordinance. And to my understanding right now, that answer is no,
They
correct?
could have answered those questions, so.
Okay, I would encourage you to try that first. While you're doing that, we will take your questions and also forward it, but I'd also encourage you to take that route. I think that route is a lot, since being on council, and watching council too in the past years, I believe that has been skipped sometimes. We're here to assist and we will definitely help, but I would also encourage you to go that route too, because they handle the day-to-day and they're supposed to enforce the ordinances that we pass.
Correct, but my question was to council, if you were aware of an ordinance not being followed, would you act? So I can't ask.
We would need an example and look into it, correct?
I can't ask the
Yeah,
mayor if she would be aware of, or as something city council would do. That's why I addressed it to city council.
Yeah, we would look into anything that's sent to us.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other Scranton resident would like to address council? All right, fifth order, Mr. Boulevard.
Fifth order, 5A motions.
Dr. Rothschild, any motions or comments at this time?
Yes, I do. What I'll be addressing tonight is the Kratom ordinance and legislation that's on our agenda tonight, especially given the amount of people who have been in contact with council over the past day or so and the number of people who attended tonight to speak about it. So first, I'd like to note that I had not received communication from my colleagues about this ordinance or yesterday's press conference until the evening of Easter Sunday. And this gave me a limited amount of time to review the legislation. This is a matter I was not previously educated on, and when I've spoken to others about it over the last 2 days, no one I knew was familiar with kratom, with the substance. Some of the conversations included other medical professionals, a person whose daughter had tragically passed from a fentanyl overdose, and a law enforcement professional. As a physical therapist with nearly 12 years of experience, I've treated a great number of patients with chronic pain syndrome and chronic pain conditions. And I always review and discuss their medications, supplements, and other pain relief items or things that they've utilized to help manage their pain. I can't prescribe medication, but we at least have that discussion so that I'm aware of what they're taking or utilizing to help with their pain, and if there's any other things that I can help with. And I've seen patients who have been using opioid medications long-term, some for 30-plus years. I don't recall patients who have discussed their use of kratom with me, and that doesn't mean that they weren't. I'm just not aware of patients who have, or that has not come up. So I'm surprised that it hasn't come up sooner. Historically, when legislation has been developed from council, because the bulk of what we have comes from the administration or legal department, we discuss the concepts usually as a council at a caucus or in a one-on-one conversation as to avoid violation of the Sunshine Act. Then the solicitor will work with council on writing the ordinance, and we'll send out a draft for conversation and any changes prior to introduction. And I believe this is best practice, but this did not occur in this case. I was not given the same courtesy that I know I've previously given my own colleagues. And if you've wondered why I was absent from the press conference yesterday. Being given notice the night before, it doesn't really allow me to change my work and patient schedule to be there. And so I have an issue with how this process was handled in the first place. And
Yes, I agree, girl.
And I hope that my colleagues will include me in future conversations about legislation, specifically coming from council, out of basic respect, and even if they have no care for my opinion or when they already have the votes. Secondly, while I appreciate Councilman Flynn's perspective as someone in recovery and his intentions in spearheading this ordinance, I have many questions that have come up as I have been doing my own research. I understand that kratom is not well regulated, and synthetic versions have an increased potency, dependency, and more potential for harm, some of which has been discussed tonight. No other municipalities have banned it within our state to date, and other states do have bans. There are some out there, but it's mostly for the synthetic versions of it. As stated earlier in public comment, legislation regarding kratom has been introduced within the PA state legislature between the end of 2025 and now, including SB 233, HB 2058, and SB 899. These pieces of legislation ban unsafe kratom products derived from synthetics, prohibiting sales to those under age 21, and giving enforcement powers to the Department of Health. This legislation being presented here tonight appears to be more of a general ban. The many people who have contacted us over the last day or so and who have spoken here tonight do not seem opposed to the restrictions included in the proposed state legislation. They're not saying don't pass this at all. I think that we could consider amendments to it that mirror or match what's been proposed within the state legislation, as well as perhaps motivating the state to act on it sooner. And I'd also like to point out that most people seem to be asking that the natural leaf not be banned, but they're not opposed to the 7-OH being banned and taken out of stores. I would like to ask my colleagues who've developed the legislation to respond to the following questions. Normally, if this was something that came from the administration, we would forward those questions to them, but since my colleagues are sitting here next to me, I'd like to know if they have responses to what research was done on the matter. Was there legislation that this ordinance is based on? How will this be regulated and enforced practically? That's probably one of my largest concerns. How will testing take place? Was this ban and enforcement discussed with our Scranton Police Department? And I also want to know a bit more about how the consequences will work. The way it's written says that someone will face a fine of the $300 or be jailed up to 90 days. So does that mean the first offense will only be a fine, and then the following offenses would result in jail time? I was just a little unclear on that. And then I'd also like to know if there's an urgent element to this legislation because of how quickly to me and to the public. It seems that if this legislation is important, that it would be more thought out and that it would also be made to be enforceable rather than a statement piece. As it is written now, and with the lack of communication with the administration who would take responsibility of enforcing it, I don't see how it could be well implemented and effective. I want to restate that I don't disagree with banning synthetic kratom and keeping the people in Scranton safe from harmful substances. We just, thank you, we just need to be more thoughtful in this legislation and how it should be carried out. Thank you.
Yes, girl, yes!
And that's all that I have for comments tonight, but I do plan on, once this piece is introduced, then making a motion to table it for further discussion and potential amendments. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Sean McAndrew, do you have any motions or comments?
Yeah, sure. I'll speak on the kratom in fifth order when it comes up to discuss. Tonight, we're just introducing it. So other topics that I would like to discuss. For the sign, I believe, on South Irving, for Mrs. O'Malley, who came and spoke, can we just have DPW or Scranton Police go down that street and let us know what signs are city signs, and if there's anything that's illegal there, can we take it out? Like, can we just have them go through and make sure everything that's there should be there, and it's a city sign is legal, and if anything else isn't, get it out of there?
It's a single sign. I'll have them change it.
Okay.
The one sign at the end of the block.
So there is one sign that's not
Just one
legal.
sign is in question.
Okay, well then I think they need to look at that and make sure that everything is fair and everything there is a legal sign.
I guess not,
Next,
Adam.
There are, Mr. Gilbride, I know we spoke last week regarding the decision for us to tear down the building next door, going against Harb on that, and reversing their decision. The mayor never signed the document. It was the first document in 2 years since you've been here that the mayor did not sign off on. I asked you to ask the legal team to get that in writing. Why was it not signed? What was the reason? Did we ever get a response to that?
No, sir. As you're aware, I emailed that very night of the meeting. I have not received a response as of today.
Okay, can we follow up and continue to ask until we get an answer?
Yes, sir.
I appreciate that. And then finally, Mr. Vollenberg, I have a few properties that I'll be sending over to have licensing and code to check on. One will be on Prospect Ave. I don't want to put the address here, but I'll email everything over to you.
Great, I'll take care of them.
All right, and that's all I have for now, so thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mark McAndrew, do you have any motions or comments?
Yeah, I have a few. So I'm going to first report out inquiries that I've made over the past couple weeks that I got responses from administration. So the first one was about the ghost poles, or the double poles that are throughout the city. And, you know, waiting pending legislation to address these issues from the state, and I'm hopeful. But I asked what, you know, we could do as a city because it's...
Heidi, me and you found her at the same time.
One that, you know, I had the picture of that was horrendous. It's still not taken down, by the way. Still waiting on the power company. So, do we communicate? My question was, the PPL regarding increasing number of double poles, or the ghost pole, an old pole that remains. The project management office and the Department of DPW coordinate with pole owners when any public safety concerns are reported. The city holds no determining authority on location and reasonableness of pole placement as long as it's within the right of way. The city only has authority when there is a risk of public safety or city assets such as roads and sidewalks. So we just need to keep our eyes on them. I'm very hopeful for the legislation that's going to resolve all these issues and force the utility companies to take ownership of their garbage, the poles that remain, and get rid of them before they could become a safety issue. So I'm glad to see that happens. We'll stay on that. We'll keep our eyes on that. Also last week, you know, I get a couple complaints, we get them every year, regarding, especially now with the warmer weather, an uptick in illegal ATVs driving around the city. And especially them electric bikes that bob in and out of traffic that is very dangerous. I encounter almost daily. I asked if there's any new strategy with the police department. We know we can't chase them. We don't want to get anybody hurt. We understand that. But we were told previously that with the old command center, they can radio or go from camera to camera to camera. We're putting a new one next door. It's going to cost a fortune. I hope that's part of the process. But the response I got was, we will continue to work with the public to take appropriate measures to enforce the applicable laws. Maybe we have to tighten up the ordinance again because it was kind of weak when we did it a couple of years ago. So we'll keep our eye on that. So a business owner asked me a question because there's some confusion with the 2019 ordinance which prohibits time-related signage in the city, right? It was changed then but really never enforced. Meaning, you know, you could have a sign that says parking only 2 hours. All right, there might be some that exist, but they shouldn't at this point. Maybe they didn't get caught up with it. A couple of business owners did. And they're like, whoa, I didn't know anything about it. It's happened to me. And so the one owner asked me, okay, if that's not applicable anymore, there are loading zones that are going up in the city that have to remain open. All right, so I asked last week, administration, the process, including forms, applications, and related department contacts regarding parking signs for businesses, meaning the loading zone. So I'm sure this gentleman's watching, so I'm going to read the response I got. As part of the city's negotiations and resulting amendment with the parking lease concession agreement, which was recently, Grow America, it was agreed that all signs regulating on-street parking that were not lawfully authorized by the mayor and city council would be removed. And instead, not meaning lawful, meaning not referring to the 2019 ordinance, that's what I'm taking it as. Instead, a loading zone would be established on each block in the downtown for shared use by businesses. So this gentleman asked me how to do it. So if a business or anybody else who's watching that might want this completed for them. If a business wishes to request a loading zone on a block in which one does not already exist, they may contact Car Park or the city via the law department. All right, so I will share this with the resident that reached out to me, but I'm sure he's watching. All right, also, you know, we had some, of course, we dealt with some horrible weather this year, and the homeless were greatly affected. And we talked about the roads, but guess what? The homeless were more affected, I believe. And we had a couple people speak, an advocate and an actual homeless person, and wanting a seat at the table for our homeless task force that, or a homeless shelter task force, or that, you know, doesn't really meet, doesn't keep good minutes, doesn't really report out to us. And I know there's a meeting coming up in April. I'm just not sure when, because we're not really briefed. But I asked before, and these two ladies wanted a seat at the table. They bring great value and perspective. One being an unfortunate person that's homeless, and another one being an advocate across from one of our shelters that sees, you know, real time, the struggles, helps out, goes over volunteers, talks to people, provides, you know, food and all kinds of really nice things that she does out of her own pocket. The answer we got finally is the city will review this request. So that means it's probably not going to happen. So could you follow up and say, did they review this request yet between when I got a month ago when I got this response? And find out, I need to know probably before next meeting if we miss the homeless. Did you know what, I know you're on the task force. Is it this week? Is it next week? Is it?
No, it's towards the end of April, I believe the 29th.
Okay.
And I have discussed this with the administration, and it's, we're going to make sure to discuss it at the next task force meeting, figure out if we need to develop like a committee under the task force that could include residents of the community. So that will be an important discussion to have, and something I'm
I hope
pushing
it
forward
happens.
to.
Sounds good.
Yep.
All right, so speaking of the loading zones, parking spots in the city, or loading zone spots in the city, I know I requested one on behalf of a business owner a while back. It was installed, but guess what? So sometimes we have to dig a little deeper for safety's sake. A resident, a very concerned resident, is not against this parking loading zone, but how it's located on 417 Lackawanna, it makes it difficult for their workers and clients to exit our parking area due to cars not paying attention to this loading zone, right? Because it's new, I get that. I was wondering if they can have lines painted. I guess this gentleman, business owner, reached out to, you know, our Grow America, the parking, and they said there's another one being done down the block, but they didn't say anything about either painting lines or having a little better signage. So could you share that concern with them and see if they can take care of that for the residents?
Yeah, well, I'll share it with DPW in the morning.
I don't know if we need, I don't think we need approval from the parking leasee that we lease to do that. Just make it a little simple. Also, what else do I have here? So, during caucus, we talked a great deal about, the issues that were incurred during the horrific winter, the worst one we had in 30 years, and, I think DPW did a great job, by the way. But I did mention during caucus, and I want to make a motion. I'm not making a motion to vote on now to make it an ordinance, but I want to make a motion to explore or actually create or present administration with a request. And hopefully I get the support of my colleagues and we vote on it. And the request is, whenever there's an emergency declaration, right? I'm here long enough where there was a few, right? We had COVID, we had all kinds of craziness, right? And this weather event was an emergency declaration, definitely, right? State of emergency for the whole state. But it took us months to get everybody at the table here and tell us what happened, right? The paper didn't do us justice, printing that the mayor and her administration blamed the poor drivers, period, right? We didn't get the information. We don't know what happened. We don't know how many hours they worked, how many hours they're supposed to work. We didn't know in the new contract versus the old contract, they're going to be working less or make them working more. We didn't know that the people that stayed home, well, we did find out that stayed home that called off weren't drivers, right? They're not picking up garbage. They're not driving a truck. So what could they do during a snowstorm? Nothing. So they take advantage of taking that time off, and that's fine. Or some took a time off to rest, to go out and drive for the 18 hours. So we could have avoided all this controversy because, we all want to do great things for the city. You guys do a great job for the city. We're here because we care. So we need to work together. And I think, the powers that be that claim, we're transparent, we're always transparent. Well, you weren't, because we had to bring you in here and tell us what happened. That's not transparency when you have to bring them in weeks or months later, right? And beg for information of what happened. So, with that said, I would like I said, make a motion right now, because we're in fifth order, it's motions, that we task our solicitor to come up with a response or a requirement by council when the mayor declares a state of emergency, right? Or a declaration, an emergency declaration. What we want in a timely fashion, because it costs money, usually. Look at all the overtime, right? We had to ask, no, we still don't know how much it costs. A synopsis of what happened after the event, or what happened during the event, right? How much did it cost? What's the impact on the residents? They're flipping the bill, right? What was determined? What happened moving forward? What should we do? What didn't we, part of like a reflection synopsis of the event and moving forward, so we're better prepared and the residents and taxpayers are informed what actually occurred during that period and not wait and have all this. All right, so I wanted for every or any declaration of emergency, an action plan, a formal action plan, a response. We can fool around with the language of what we're going to call this report or plan, but I think it's a courtesy to us. So we're in the loop. I think it's a courtesy to the residents. I think they deserve it. All right. I made a motion, guys.
That's a motion. Do we have a second?
Second. All right.
On the question? On the question, I do like this idea. What I tried to do with the declaration of emergency was I asked for what those bills were and what we were getting. We got that, I don't know, maybe last week, what we had spent during that emergency situation, but council in the end is inevitably voting to approve that funding being spent. And at this point in time, as we read in caucus, it was $330,000 of just snow removal, plus some additional fees. It was a lot of money during that, so I would approve of this, or I would support this.
So drawn out.
Roll call?
Dr. Rothschild,
Yes.
Mr. Sean McAndrew,
Yes.
Mr. Mark McAndrew,
Yes.
Mr. Flynn,
Yes.
Mr. Schuster.
Yes. Thank you. Anything else, Mr. McAndrew?
Yeah, I have one more thing. Let me get my glasses back on here. So, all right, we had Pave Cut company in here. We had utility companies in here telling us, you know, they provide the best service ever with regards to paving. And then it's no secret that the paving list hit the papers today, right? The paving list for this year, and there, you know, hopefully some of the streets that didn't get on the paving list are going to be on the fall one, right? But what we really didn't discuss is, so all these utility companies that make these pave cuts that promise they're going to, after, you know, we got the lay of the land, after 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, when it's full restoration, or when the project's done, blah, 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 blah. But I also do remember, and it's in the ordinance, and it's always been an agreement that curb to curb, right? So what that means is when they're done with everything, they're supposed to pave curb to curb for the most part, depending on the project. And also depending on the size of the project, they might have to pave the whole street, right? Or should, or have in the past. None of that was discussed this year, right? So with that said, you know what list I want? I want the list from the utility companies, Mr. Voldenberg, if you'd please reach out to administration. The list that the utility companies are going to pave curb to curb, what parts of the city, what streets are going to pave, if they're paving whole streets curb to curb. Because there might be people sitting home right now reading that list that just came out in the paper and going, are you kidding me? My street's not going to be paved. It's one of the worst in the city. It's not on that list, maybe because they're still working on it, maybe, and I'm giving the benefit of the doubt, that it's going to be paid by the utility company, I don't know, maybe in a month, maybe before the winter. So if we have that information, we can share it with the residents that are still going to come here and say, my street's a mess, and it's not on the paving list? Like, give me a break. That's what they're going to say to us. We live it here. So could you please see if they can compile a list of the streets that the utilities, first of all, are contractually responsible to pave curb to curb, and which ones are going to be totally paved?
I will, sir.
All right, thank you. And guess what? That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Flynn, do you have any motions or comments?
Yeah, so I'll talk about the proposed Kratom ordinances. I want to begin thanking so many individuals, advocates for coming out tonight. I want to acknowledge that there are people who feel strongly that Kratom should remain available. Over the past 24 hours, I have heard from individuals all over the country, some individuals that state that it helps with pain management, dealing with some behavioral health issues such as trauma, PTSD, depression, among others, while the others say it has played a role in their recovery. I want to be clear that I hear these concerns, and I respect that people come to this issue from different perspectives. The reality we are facing at the local level here in Scranton is that there is currently no meaningful regulatory framework governing these products. Kratom is being sold in gas stations, smoke shops, convenience stores in a wide range of forms: powders, capsules, extracts, and increasingly potent concentrates. There are no consistent manufacturing standards, no uniform labeling requirements, and no clear dosing guidance. The main compound that has raised growing concern is 7-OH. This compound exists naturally in the kratom leaf in small amounts. What we are increasingly seeing on the market today are products where this compound is concentrated or enhanced, dramatically increasing potency. From a municipal standpoint, we simply do not have the authority to regulate substances like this in a responsible way. Scranton cannot set dose limits on compounds like 7-OH. We cannot mandate laboratory testing standards, and we cannot establish clear packaging and labeling requirements that are so badly needed in this market. Until those standards exist, municipalities like Scranton are left with limited tools to address products that are widely available, increasingly potent, and completely unregulated. We could put a ban in place, or we could allow 7-OH sales and things like 7-OH to continue to be like the Wild West in our city. I also want to address something that has been that has had a lot of misinformation. This ordinance is only civil in nature, not criminal. It regulates the commercial sale of these products within the city. Any penalties are strictly civil, similar to other local regulatory actions. This ordinance does not create criminal charges for individuals. Regardless of what national trade groups may be publicly suggesting, this is not and has never been about criminalizing individuals. It is about regulating the sale of a product that operates in a regulatory gray area. This ordinance is not about dismissing the experiences of individuals who believe Kratom has helped them. It is not about stigmatizing anyone struggling with addiction or recovery. It is about protecting our residents in the city of Scranton until there is a clear federal regulatory structure. And I also understand that bills have been introduced in the Pennsylvania State House and Senate. I also understand that those bills have been being introduced in the state of Pennsylvania, in this Commonwealth, since at least 2019. And every 2 years, if a bill isn't passed into law in both chambers and signed by the governor within that legislative session, the whole entire process starts over again. So what has happened every couple of years in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania is there are lobbyists out there for the Kratom industry that have beat back these bills and some of these regulatory frameworks that could happen in Pennsylvania around 7-OH, some of the sales to minors, et cetera, et cetera. And at the end of the session, which will be ending again in December of this year, they never passed both chambers of the legislature, and that entire process has to begin again. While I would truly hope that this could be regulated and have more teeth to what we could do in Scranton from a federal or a state level, I am not willing to sit around and wait for those levels of government to act when for so long they have not. When for so long these highly concentrated, highly addictive substances and makeups have hit our stores and impacted our residents within the city. I will not wait for them to act. I will put the health and the welfare and the safety of the citizens of Scranton first and foremost in my mind. And I appreciate, once again, everyone who came out to advocate for the pure leaf kratom, and I understand, and I would love to have conversations with many of you. But as it stands right now, as a municipality and as the city of Scranton, there's no way to differentiate the two in the form of dosage, marketing, regulations, or anything like that. So I appreciate everyone's time coming out, and that's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Flynn. I do have a couple comments tonight. I'll address the kratom when we introduce the legislation. Some follow-up from last week. Mr. Vollenberg, did we hear anything back on the Center City baseball field on, I believe, Wood Street, where we were bringing some of the Christmas trees? No word back.
Follow-up.
All right, thank you.
Excuse me, Mr. President, was that with regard to the placement of the trees?
Correct.
I was told today that has been corrected.
Okay.
That they've been taken care of.
Okay. Thank you. Did we get any follow-up from the questions that we had asked Pannoni when they were in for pave cuts? No. Okay. We heard in public comment tonight that there's a plan to make some of the streets one-way in Tripp Park and place the Welcome to West Scranton sign on, I believe, 915 Euclid Avenue. Can we just inquire to see if that's the case?
I will, sir.
Thank you very much. We discussed South Irving Avenue, where the city engineer is going to review that. We did ask about, or last week I did ask about a copy of the DEP plan for the Meadowbrook project, and The administration stated that DEP has requested that we do not give the plans out, but they're happy to meet if anyone would like to discuss the plan, so we might arrange something soon. I did inquire about the status of pools and parks for the summertime, as the summer is getting close, as we're getting into spring. So the response that I got was that we generally open one pool and one splash pad for Memorial Day. They get them open for the weekend so people can go out for the holidays. The pool openings are strategically timed to coincide with the end of the public school year. And the Scranton School District is currently
They haven't decided yet.
scheduled high school graduations for Tuesday, June 9th of 2026, so pools will likely to open that week. After opening days, pools will remain open daily from noon to 6 p.m. through Labor Day. Weston Field's indoor pool is open year-round. Last year, Connell Park, Weston Park, and Weston Field pools were open, as well as the Novembrino Splash Pad, and this year, Naog is going to be added, as well as the Capaus Avenue Splash Pad. So, with the pools and splash pads, also the athletic courts at Naog will be open from mid to late May, and they're awaiting court sealing depending on the weather. So they're looking for late May for the openings of those courts. Gray Streets is going to see some playground renovation, and Connell Park should be starting in May. That is all I have for tonight.
5B for introduction and ordinance, regulating the sale and/or distribution of kratom and its active related alkaloid, included but not limited to mitragynine and 7-hydroxymitragynine 7-OH and/or any synthetic, semi-synthetic, concentrated, or chemically modified derivatives, therefore of human consumption or ingestion to minors, prohibiting the possession of kratom and its active related alkaloid, included but not limited to mitragynine and 7-hydroxymitragynine 7-OH and/or any synthetic, semi-synthetic, concentrated, or chemically modified derivatives thereof for human consumption or ingestion by minors, and providing for enforcement of these provisions, including penalties and violations.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion that item 5B be introduced into its proper committee.
So moved. Second.
On the question?
Yeah, on the question, I know there were some questions about the timing of this coming over. I also did get it on Sunday. Had time to read it over Monday and today as well. It's not too much different of information we get from the administration on timing. I do also want to remind everybody, this is just introducing it. It'll be multiple reads before it's, approved or denied. So knowing Pat and knowing DA Gallagher, they would never put something in front of us if they didn't do their research and felt strong about it, and Mr. Gilbride as well, I believe, helped out. When I think about rushed issue, I don't feel like this is a rushed ordinance. When I think about things that were rushed by the administration, it's Fidelity Building being purchased, and Geisinger getting their zoning changed before a new council can come on, because they might have different decisions. That is something I believe is rushed. This is just standard protocol. It's being presented in front of us to introduce, and we have time to review it, possibly make changes, to table it, whatever, but I do not feel like this was rushed, and I appreciate the hard work, Attorney Gilbride, DA Gallagher, and my council member Flynn for all their hard work on this, and just to say that they definitely did their research on this, and they feel strong about it. It would not be in front of us if it wasn't. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else on the question?
Yeah, on the question quickly, I appreciate some of the concerns from Councilwoman Rothschild, and to be fair, this was something that I had been researching for months and months and months and months, and working with Attorney Gilbride on it, and at the end of last week, I brought it to President Schuster on Friday, as I should have. I had been working with the district attorney, members of the recovery community, members in emergency departments throughout the city of Scranton, and had put in quite a bit of time and effort into the research and getting to know more about everything that had to do with this. So I will say that I did my due diligence on this. I apologize if it didn't come to you soon enough, but I did do my due diligence on it. As far as your question around enforcement, I would hope, just like any other ordinance that's passed in the city of Scranton, that the police department, when needed, would enforce that ordinance in, whatever department it would fall under, would enforce it just like any piece of legislation that is passed into law in the city of Scranton. So I just want to address those things very quickly, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to thank... Go ahead. Okay. Go ahead. Go.
All right, so I pretty much got the notice of the press release, the day before. Prior ordinances to come from administration, I get invited to the press release either an hour after it or 10 minutes before it while I'm at work. So, and more than once, where some of my colleagues were in the know ahead of time and we're there. So I'm not going to do the tit for tat for that kind of thing. But I know this was a pet project for you, and even before you ran, that I was made aware of. I know you worked with, like I said, well, not like I said, like the rest have said, D.A. Gallagher, our solicitor. I'm not going to question any of you guys. That's your area of expertise, not mine. I have different areas. I knew once crafted under the, the collaboration of you three, it would be a solid piece of legislation compared to some we get from administration, last minute, rush jobs that are intentional. As Councilman McAndrew noted last December, we got more stuff shoved down our throats last December with an outgoing council than ever. So, like I said, I'm happy. I have no complaints about how I got it, how I didn't get it fast enough or short enough. It's solid, and I'm going to vote to introduce it and vote it each week till it's an ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd like to echo some of the same sentiment. This is fifth order tonight we're introducing. Between fifth order and final passage, we'll have time to answer those questions. I do appreciate those questions as well as we vet this legislation as it moves forward. We're going to get those answers. Thanking several people, Mr. Gilbride, thank you very much for your hard work on this. Mr. Flynn, thank you for your forward thinking. Different areas of the public came together to craft this ordinance. You had members of law enforcement. Myself, I'm involved with school-age children, so I'm seeing some of this come into the school and permeate the schools, and it's easily accessible to minors. The piece of legislation I feel is a proactive step from council to protect the public health in our community. We're restricting access to harmful products in our city, and these are products that could be easily accessible to minors. I also believe that positives come out of this, and inevitably we may be saving lives, and I think we are going to be saving lives. So a handful of states and municipalities have taken similar measures, and I hope that some of our neighboring communities also take note of legislation and pass similar ordinances, and I will be supporting this tonight. Anyone else on the question?
Yes, on the question, won't go, as much into it as I did earlier, but I think it would be irresponsible to pass this legislation as is, and I do appreciate being put together, but I still don't feel like it's fully vetted, and I still don't quite understand why the county DA was consulted, and it was discussed with him, but not with our Scranton Police Department, especially if they're the ones that would potentially have to issue the fines. The DA that would come into place after the fine was issued, and then, from that standpoint, from a judicial standpoint. So I just, still unclear on that. And on other aspects of it, I do feel like it's an overreach to completely ban the substance. I would like the opportunity for us to look even more into it and to hear out the public. So I will still be making a motion to table items 5B and 5C tonight.
There's a motion to table. Do we have a second? We do not have a second. Anyone else on the question?
Yeah, Mr. Gilbride, just to confirm, the chief law enforcement agent is the DA, correct, for all municipalities that fall under Lackawanna County?
On the state level.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else on the question? All those in favor of introduction signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
The ayes have it and so moved.
5C for introduction an ordinance regulating the sale and/or distribution of kratom and its active related alkaloid, included but not limited to mitragynine and 7-hydroxymitragynine, and/or any synthetic, semi-synthetic, concentrated, or chemically modified derivatives, therefore of human consumption or ingestion, prohibiting the possession of kratom and its active related alkaloid, included but not limited to mitragynine and 7-hydroxymitragynine, 7-OH, and/or any synthetic, semi-synthetic, concentrated, or chemically modified derivatives thereof for human consumption or ingestion, and prohibiting the manufacture and production of kratom and its active related alkaloid, including but not limited to mitragynine and 7-hydroxymitragynine, 7-OH, and/or any synthetic, semi-synthetic, concentrated, or chemically modified derivatives thereof for human consumption or ingestion.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion that item 5C be introduced into its proper committee.
So moved. Second.
On the question. All those in favor of introduction signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
The ayes have it and so moved.
5D for introduction, a resolution authorizing the mayor and other appropriate city officials to execute and enter into a contract with Soul Institute, Inc. to perform water safety.
I think we can end it
and
now, huh?
construction partnership.
Yeah, that.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion that item 5D be introduced into its proper committee.
So moved.
Yeah, that's a Helton Haynes situation right there.
Yeah.
They're just sitting there passing that ordinance on through because that one guy, I listened to a podcast with him today, like right before this started.
Yeah.
And even before he ran for office, you know, I guess he's from recovery. He used to be an addict. So, I mean, he's had his eye on Kratom for a minute.
The Flynn guy, the Councilman Flynn.
Uh-huh. And
They
so,
totally bulldozed her.
yeah.
She's the only female on that committee or on the
She's
city
the only
council.
one with any brain cells.
Yeah.
Or,
And
you
it's
know,
like-
thinks for themselves.
It's like some sort of bro code happened over the weekend, and she wasn't involved with it. And the other guy wasn't involved either, but he seems like he's just a follower.
Yeah, he's because that one guy wants to do it.
Testimony already happened, Heidi. It happened at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. We've been on here for almost 2 hours. So
Yeah.
you guys sit through what Jen and I normally sit through, and then and then when the hearings are done is when we clip up the videos. But y'all got to sit through the whole thing tonight.
That other place, Ottawa or whatever, also, I think they banned it tonight.
Man. That was just, man. There's so many wrongs that happened in that hearing.
Yeah.
So many wrongs.
It's so messed up whenever people are not listening to their citizens and they're just doing it because one person wants it to. That is
Yeah.
not right.
Yeah.
Like, that's literally what's happening in Tennessee right now, the entire state.
I don't know when they meet again, Tammy. I don't know, but like the guy said, I feel like y'all, if y'all are in Scranton, y'all need to scramble some people in Scranton and get them to these hearings.
Yeah. There was two different things, but they passed both. I'm gonna look at the agenda real quick.
Yeah.
The first one was an introduction to the ordinance regulating the sale of kratom, and then the other one was regulating the sale of kratom.
The thing of it is that like this is what we notice when we attend these hearings is like the northeast part of the country, when they say regulation, it actually means bans. It actually means banning something. Yeah, show up, land worker. It's by happenstance for you to see our live stream. You were meant to see this tonight. You were meant to see this, so you need to gather up your folks.
What it looks like to me, I mean, I'm not gonna like, I'm just saying real quick. It looks like one of them is for one of the ordinances, 5B was for not selling it to minors, and then 5C was for an entire regulating the sale and distribution.
But they both voted, you know,
Yeah.
they all voted aye for both.
I don't know. Maybe they had them both go through in case they wanted to approve one and not the other. But I mean, it's obvious which one they're gonna choose. That dude don't want it to be around.
No. I kind of feel like he's involved. How did he get clean? You listen to the podcast. How did he get clean?
He didn't say, but I mean, it sounded like he came from addiction center. And then he even said, like, in the very beginning, you know, she was asking him how he'd found out about it. And he started saying that. And then he changed it to saying, oh, well, I also got some phone calls about it. You know, but he was about to be like, you know, I feel like he came from addiction, part of
Addiction,
the whole,
yeah.
and he's trying to say that people reached out to him
Mhm.
and they were saying it caused a problem.
But I wonder if he's part of the AA cult or if he's part of the Suboxone cult, the
I
Matt
don't
treatment
know that
cult.
one. I don't know. He did sound like he said that he was all for harm reduction, but this wasn't harm reduction because it's not regulated by the FDA and there's no dosing and, you know, da 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 da.
Oh, it's usually the Matt treatment people that say that crap.
Yeah. He also got one of his family members went and got hooked on an energy drink. They thought was an energy drink and it was a kratom drink before they went to the gym every day. And he had to go put them in treatment for 30 days.
That sounds like similar to Utah.
Yeah.
To Mikhail's little gym rat buddy.
Yeah.
That
it sounds really similar. And he said it was his family member.
Huh.
Yeah. Like I was like scrolling through Facebook and I saw that pop up and I was like, oh, it's only 13 minutes. Let me listen to this real quick.
Land worker, if you can, like hit the notification buttons, because I mean I post up on all social medias except Facebook. I got banned on Facebook, you know, but whenever there's hearings that are popping off, I'll do a post on we're allowed to do like posts, like a Facebook post on YouTube, like a YouTube, it's called like a YouTube post. So you can either do that or follow me on like X, you know, or TikTok or Instagram, LinkedIn. It's like watching this guy is like watching Mikhail 2.0.
Yeah.
He does not want to be wrong at all because that is a blow to his ego. And y'all witnessed it. It's the 708 shit. It's the 708 shit that is ravaging these communities, and they don't want to take the time to differentiate either or.
They always say it's too hard. It's like, is it really too hard to just look at a product and read the ingredients, dude? Is it that hard? Like, I mean, oh my God, I would have never thought I'd be smarter than my own people making laws all around me. That's saying a lot. Get that out of here with that, man. I can't stand it. I can't stand it. I mean, just getting up and lying. So lazy, just a lie.
Yeah, I've seen both, Mike. Extreme Mike. I've seen the 708 shots and the 708 little freaking chemical tabs. The press tabs. Like some of those, you're supposed to quarter it up either a quarter or you're supposed to quarter up a 1/8 of a tab. Like, get the hell out of here.
Insane.
And I stole this, this tagline from Mike. I put this in my emails too when I send it. If you have the power to ban and enforce, wait, what do I say? If you have the power to ban and if you have the power to ban and enforce, you have the power to regulate and enforce.
I put that shit on my sign when I was in the Senate.
You did.
If you can ban it, you can regulate it.
Yeah, you did.
Stupid idiots trying to tell me some stupid stuff. I feel like saying, can I just talk to y'all for like an hour and tell y'all how to do your fucking job then?
Yeah.
God, it's not hard. Like, y'all are just so making it act like it's so hard because you just don't care. Like, whenever they do that, like, they literally don't give a shit about any of us, about anybody they're supposed to care about.
They're prolonging mask over problems until we get to hospice.
Mm-hmm.
Our children paid for our death. Then yeah. Because of me finding whole leaf kratom almost 7 years ago, I didn't go to detox. I didn't go to rehab. I didn't go to recoveries. I didn't go to mat treatment. I didn't do none of that. I recovered from my active addiction at home with my children.
Dude, do you see this Orlando Park?
What?
Orlando Park. Mike went to go get or ask about feel free, but it was in Orlando Park. And it banned there.
Oh, really? No, is it Overland Park?
I don't know.
I don't know.
They banned sale.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Orland Park. Sorry. Exactly.
So they're not even enforcing their bans.
Well, dude, that's exactly what's happening here. And I think that's happening in a lot of places.
Yeah.
A lot of places. And that's the problem. It's like, I have a feeling next year going to come around if whoever hadn't already banned it, because I'm telling you, it's been hell this year.
Yeah.
And they're going to be like, well, we banned 7OH, but it's still, and I tell you right now, every place that they supposedly ban everything, 7OH is still going to be on the shelves.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Still going to be there. It's still there. It's, you're not enforcing it now. Why in the world would you later?
It just looks good on paper, for our anti-lobbying groups. They're pretty much a lobbying group now. The antis. It just looks good on paper for when they go to court for their wrongful death lawsuits. They'll be like, oh, so-and-so banned it. They saw it as a public health crisis. That's another $10,000 tacked onto me winning my lawsuit.
Yep. Yeah, if anybody wants to
screenshot that.
Yeah. Get in touch with Laura, send her your name, your city, your state, and let her know you want to get involved with advocacy, and she'll let you know.
Yep. Yeah, because in Idaho, even though the ban bill was defeated and the KCPA didn't go through. So right now, what's going to happen in Idaho is they're going to go city by city to do what you just witnessed tonight in Scranton. They're going to go city by city. So y'all aren't in the clear in Idaho.
Should change that one. No, nobody's in the clear right now, dude.
Gotta run now for guys, but I will see you on the flip side and let you know if I manage to make any progress on the end. God bless and good night. All right. Bye, Landworker. I'm telling you, him or her, I don't know what they are. They, them, I don't know. But for them to just come across the live stream that was happening and they live there.
Yeah, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Well, I got to get off here and go do motherly things and such. I didn't know. I kind of knew it was going to be this long, but man, I thought it was going to be like a little bit more productive.
I'm glad we didn't leave early because at first I was going to be like, should we just go ahead and get off here?
Yeah.
'Cause
They
they
took
just-
forever. It's like they was just mad or something because they didn't want it to take forever instead of just going in and getting over. They're like, we're going to do these motion things first.
Yeah. No, Tammy. I mean, you're good statewide, but not city by city or county by county-wide,
Yeah.
Tammy. You're not good. There's one popping off. So message Laura with that link, that email that she dropped. Message her and she'll keep you in the loop. Because something popped off today.
Yeah, so Laura at plantsandherbals.org.
Yep. Tennessee's tomorrow. It ain't looking pretty in Tennessee. It's not.
It's not. It's not looking pretty at all. But I mean, it's sad. It's sad.
So
it's looking like trash. I never thought I'd say that about Tennessee, but these lawmakers literally do not care at all about us.
Yeah.
Like,
they really
at
don't.
all. Period. It's crazy. I wish I could just say, let's wipe the slate clean.
Okay, Tammy, get a hold of her.
Yeah.
And anybody else who's watching, can you put that email back up, please? Anybody else that's watching, screenshot that email address and send Laura your name, city, and state. And then we will categorize you, and any alerts that come out, she'll be sending an email.
Does it? Tomorrow it goes to the House floor. And at the very exact same time, tomorrow at 8:30, it goes up for the House floor vote, which it'll pass. I'm telling you that right now. I'd bet all my money on it. And then it also at the same time, 8:30 tomorrow morning, it's in the Senate Finance Committee. And I don't really know. I'm pretty sure it'll pass there. I don't really know what's going to happen, and then once it passes that, then it'll go to the Senate floor.
Yeah.
And then to the governor. So.
But okay, thank y'all for watching the live. Scranton.
Scranton. Yeah, where the office is. That's dude, I'm telling you. Like when I heard that, I was like, dude, that's the office. I looked it up too. It is.
It is.
All right, everybody.